In 1987, 23 miners went down for their shift. In 2019, a message found on the wall changed everything. When the stage lights went out, no one believed Kevin Smith. His father, Henry, was only 29 years old. In the mountains of Coalville, in a small coal mine, he had gone down for an ordinary night shift. He never came back up. At that moment, Kevin didn't know that the answers he would search for over 32 years would be waiting in the deepest gallery of the mine. When everyone's artificial security collapsed, only the darkness would show its true face. 23 miners had suddenly disappeared. Experienced foreman Henry, young apprentice Mike, old master Oscar, all on the same night. There was no sound, no trace, no explanation, as if the earth had swallowed them. This story isn't just about missing miners. This is the story of how dark secrets our most trusted institutions can hide. And sometimes, the truth is buried so deep that to find it, you just need to dig in the right place. But remember, this isn't just a story. This is lived reality itself. 32 years ago, 23 families put their children to bed, waiting for their spouses to return from work. That morning, none of them knew. No one would knock on their doors. And worse, they would learn this wasn't an accident. November 15, 1987, the November cold in Coalville cuts to the bone. Henry Smith has finished dinner, stroking the hair of his 6-year-old son Kevin. "Dad, when will we buy a bicycle?" asks little Kevin. Henry smiles. "Tomorrow, son. We'll look at bicycles for you tomorrow." 10:30 p.m. Henry puts on his work clothes and leaves the house. The night shift is about to begin. Walking toward Coalville 4 coal mine, he meets up with other miners from the neighborhood. The 23-person team walks toward the mine, chatting as usual. According to weather records that night, wind speed was 45 km/h, temperature -2 degrees. Miner Mike Thompson's wife Sarah sees her husband for the last time from the window. 17-year-old Alex, son of old master Oscar, calls out to his father, "Be careful, Dad." 11 p.m. 23 miners descend 300 meters by elevator. Night watchman Stephen Clark records in his logbook, 23 people went down, shift started. 7 p.m. the day shift arrived, but no one came up from underground. The elevator is empty, no sound at all. 8:30 a.m. Fire and rescue teams are called. An official report is prepared. Methane gas explosion. But what's strange, no bodies are found, no debris. What families were told, the explosion was very severe, the galleries completely collapsed, bodies remained in unreachable places. But allegedly, that night the night watchman Stephen heard a strange sound at the mine entrance, not a methane gas explosion, but like a controlled dynamite blast. And strangest of all, the explosion sound came only once, not from underground, but from the tunnel mouth. 32 years passed. 2019, Kevin is now 38 years old. Every November 15th, he comes to where his father disappeared, watching the mine from the hill. Over the years, questions plagued his mind. Why are there no bodies? Why weren't families allowed a site inspection? Why is the official report only 2 pages? That morning, important news comes. State Mining Company, due to economic difficulties, sells Coalville 4 mine to the private sector. The buyer, Oliver Kane, 45 years old, a successful businessman from New York. Kevin's hope revives with the sale news. Maybe the new owner will investigate, uncover the truth. He starts examining old mine records. He requests 1987 records from the district population office. He looks at files from that period at the Coalville Police Department. First oddity, in the night watchman's logbook, 20 miners were recorded that night, but 23 names are on the missing list, a 3-person difference. Second oddity, the Mining Engineers Association report says no methane gas accumulation detected, but the official report says methane gas explosion. Third oddity, the mine manager from that period, Isaac Cooper, gets promoted and transferred to another city 1 month after the incident. A terrible suspicion comes to Kevin's mind. What if this wasn't an accident? What if someone deliberately buried? He has no proof, only suspicion. Who would believe after 32 years? Just as these thoughts torment him, an unknown number lights up on his phone screen. The voice he hears when he answers will change his life. "Hello, is this Kevin? I'm Oliver Kane, the new mine owner. I have something urgent to tell you. We found something about your father I can't explain over the phone. Come immediately, see for yourself. And Kevin, don't tell anyone, it's too early. 30 minutes later, Kevin is at the mine site. Oliver Kane meets him, his face tense and worried. Kevin, when I bought this mine, I thought the old galleries were completely collapsed, but my geology team reached the 4th level last night. Oliver takes Kevin down 300 meters by elevator. Moving with flashlights, they reach the 4th level D gallery, and there, 23 miners' helmets in perfect condition, 23 pairs of gloves as if left yesterday. No rust, no decay. How is this possible? Kevin's voice trembles. 32 years have passed, but these look new. Oliver explains. This place remained completely airtight. No dust, no moisture even. It had a mummification effect. The flashlight beam hits the tunnel wall. And there, letters carved into stone. Help us. They sealed the tunnel. Henry Smith, November 15th, 1987. Kevin's knees give way, his father's handwriting. He recognizes these letters, the way he wrote in notebooks during childhood. But the message continues. We are 23 people. We've been waiting 3 days. No water. Why did they leave us? Oliver's geologist friend Mark explains. At 300 meters, we calculated oxygen for 23 people. In this volume, they could survive maximum 4 to 5 days, but without water, at most 3 days. Kevin realizes the horrible truth. His father and friends died slowly from thirst and oxygen deficiency. Oliver says, before giving this message to police, we should talk to Isaac Cooper, the mine manager from that period. They find Isaac Cooper, 71 years old, living in Coalville's suburbs. When he opens the door, his face turns pale, as if he's seen a ghost. Kevin, Henry's son, after 32 years, Isaac's hands start trembling. What tunnel are you talking about, son? He says, but the fear in his eyes gives everything away. He knew. He always knew. Kevin shows his father's message. Isaac collapses into his chair. After a long silence, the 71-year-old man starts crying. I've been carrying this secret for 32 years. Every night I hear their voices, their screams, their pleas for help. Ice drops into Kevin's heart. So while they were dying, someone above knew the situation. The confession minutes at Isaac Cooper's house turned Kevin's life upside down. The old man says, trembling, there was no methane gas explosion, Kevin. We deliberately left them down there. Why? Kevin's voice cracks. Isaac takes a long breath, because what we found on the 4th level under the coal was a large gold vein. According to geological reports from that period, approximately 15 tons of pure gold, worth $15 billion at today's prices. Oliver Kane listens silently during this, but Kevin doesn't notice the expression on his face. Isaac continues. Governor Nathan Crawford from that period, Metropolitan Mayor Stephen Parker, Regional Director Thomas Clark and I, we all decided together the state shouldn't know about this gold vein. We would keep it for ourselves. How did the miners find out? Henry, your father was a very careful miner. While working on the 4th level, he noticed gold glints under the coal layer. He told the other 22 miners too. Kevin's heart races. What happened then? First we offered them money, $50,000 per person. Huge money at that time. But Henry refused. He said this is injustice. He said this gold belongs to the people. The other miners supported him too. Tears flow from Isaac's eyes. That night we sent them down, then blew up the tunnel entrance with dynamite. We made up the methane gas story, gave it to the press. Did they die immediately? No. Isaac's voice becomes a whisper. For 3 days we heard their voices, cries for help, screaming their children's names, sounds of prayer, but none of us went down. Kevin would tremble with anger, but Isaac's last words freeze him. Kevin, it's not over. Governor Nathan, Mayor Stephen, they're all still alive, and Oliver Kane. Isaac looks at Oliver. He's Governor Nathan's son. He came to take his father's gold after 32 years. Kevin turns to look at Oliver. Now everything becomes clear. You're the killer's son? Oliver finally drops the mask. Kevin, these matters are complicated. Those were different times. My father and others were working for the country. You killed 23 people for the country. They were just miners. With this gold, we could give jobs to thousands of people, contribute to the economy. Kevin jumps up. You're still talking about gold. You massacred 23 innocent people. And right then, Kevin realizes the horrible truth. Oliver calling him to the mine, showing him the message. None of this was coincidence. You called me here because you wanted to destroy the evidence, didn't you? Kevin asks. Oliver with a cold smile. Smart boy. Yes, that message needed to be erased, and you shouldn't have realized this. Kevin tries to call police, but Oliver, no signal here, and Isaac's words, the nonsense of a 71-year-old senile man, who would believe? Just then, machine sounds come from afar. Oliver speaks into his radio. Yes, cleanup continues. Leave no trace. Kevin realizes with horror. Oliver returned to the mine with his men, destroying evidence. Kevin immediately calls 911 and reports the situation. Commissioner Albert Wilson, an experienced policeman who worked in the region for 25 years. Kevin, this is a very serious accusation. We're immediately taking Isaac Cooper and going to the mine. When they arrive at the mine, no one is on site. Workers have left. Only a few vehicles remain. The commissioner requests backup via radio. They descend 300 meters by elevator. Old mine tunnels, dark corridors no one had entered for years. Moving with flashlights, machine sounds come from afar. When they reach the 4th level, the scene they encounter is horrific. Oliver Kane and his 4 workers are collecting the miners' skeletal remains and putting them in plastic bags. 23 skeletons being moved for the last time after 32 years. Stop, police. Commissioner Wilson draws his gun. Oliver turns, no remorse on his face. Commissioner, what are you doing here? I'm arresting you for murder, Oliver. Oliver laughs. What murder? These are workers who died in a mine accident 32 years ago. I'm just taking out the bodies so their families can have proper funerals. Kevin steps forward. Don't lie. We found Father's message. What message? Oliver asks with an innocent expression. Kevin looks at the tunnel wall. The message is erased. Oliver destroyed the evidence. But Kevin is prepared. He takes out his cell phone. Oliver, I'm currently recording this conversation. What difference does it make? Big difference. You just said what message? If you really had no knowledge of the message, you should have been surprised when I said we found Father's message. But you directly asked what message, so you knew about the message's existence. Oliver's face changes. Kevin continues. Second, if you're taking out bodies to deliver to families, why didn't you inform anyone? Why are you doing it secretly? Third, how did Isaac, who you call a 71-year-old senile man, know your and your father's names? Oliver is cornered. Okay, yes, I knew. My father told me everything before he died. The gold vein is still there, worth billions of dollars. The commissioner puts on handcuffs. 23 innocent people aren't worth any amount of gold. Oliver desperately, this isn't just our work. The governor from that period, Nathan Crawford, my father, Mayor Stephen Parker, regional director, Thomas Clark, they were all in it. Then we'll arrest them all too. Going up, Kevin looks back one last time. The 23 miners who waited alone in this dark tunnel for 32 years would finally go home, but the story doesn't end here. Arrests would create a domino effect, and 32 years of silence would finally turn into justice. The next day, newspapers headline, 32-year secret solved, 23 miners killed for gold. But the real shock would come after the arrests. Arrests come one after another. Former Governor Nathan Crawford, 73 years old, has a heart attack and is hospitalized. Doctors say shock effect. Former Mayor Stephen Parker is caught at the airport trying to escape to Miami. Regional Director Thomas Clark surrenders. Thanks to Isaac Cooper's detailed confession, they find the exact location of the gold vein. Geological reports prove correct. 15 tons of pure gold, really worth billions of dollars. But the state makes a surprising decision. The Energy Secretary announces at a press conference, this gold will not be extracted. A monument will be built here for 23 miners. No mineral wealth is more valuable than human life. The funeral ceremony becomes one of the biggest funerals in Coalville's history. 20,000 people come. Kevin carries his father's coffin on his shoulders. Tears won't stop. The 32-year search finally ends. Kevin speaks at the cemetery, his voice trembling. My father was an honest man. He didn't bow to injustice. He didn't stray from honesty, even in the face of gold. He died for justice with his 23 friends. The court process lasts 6 months. Oliver Kane and others receive aggravated life sentences for organized crime, intentional killing, harming the state. The judge's decision states, mass murder committed out of gold greed. Kevin now goes to his father's grave every November 15th, written on the tombstone, Henry Smith, honest miner, martyr of justice. On Coalville's hills, where the mine used to be, the 23 miners' monument is erected. It bears 23 names and this inscription: "They gave their lives for their honesty. They will not be forgotten." This story isn't just about 23 miners. This is the story of injustice that could happen to any of us. When the powerful try to crush the weak, the story of how difficult it is to tell the truth. Sometimes truth is buried very deep. It can remain underground for 32 years. But sooner or later, if you dig patiently, you'll find it. Because truth never completely disappears. What would you do? 32 years in darkness, away from family, cut off from the world. Would you resist the end like Henry Smith? Or would you lose hope? Would you research for 32 years like Kevin? Or would you just let it go saying what's done is done? And most importantly, if offered gold, are you ready to sell your honesty? The 23 miners didn't die. They live in the heart of every honest worker, in the soul of every person who stands against injustice, in the conscience of every person who defends the truth. The message Henry Smith carved on the wall still echoes, "Help us, and we will continue to help." Because remember, no gold vein is more valuable than innocent blood. In Coalville's mountains, they don't extract gold anymore, but something much more valuable comes from there: hope, justice, and a lesson to be passed to future generations. Honesty always wins. Kevin is now 40 years old. He's still fighting, still working for workers' rights, and every morning he looks in the mirror and says, "Dad, I kept my promise. I found the truth, and I announced it to the world.